All right, Coach, you had a big opening Big 12 win the other day in Lubbock, Texas against Texas Tech. Your team, was on it from the very beginning. What did you like most about your team's performance in the win?
I thought it was the way we started the game. I thought we really came in focused. I thought our preparation was good for the game, and I thought our guys executed, well for the most part throughout that evening.
Coach, last year this team had some struggles on the road, but first game of the Big 12 on the road this year, get the win. What does that do for the confidence going into the season, knowing that you can beat teams on the road?
Well, I think it really helps our guys. First seeing the atmospheres that we're going to face on a nightly basis. You have to remember, 11 new players, so they're trying to, find their way, and it's nothing like, playing in a Big 12 road game. And so I think for them to kind of experience that was good, and we'll grow from the experience. There are a lot of things that we learned, and I think we can even be better. It's just a function of, coming in practice, understanding what we're going to face every night.
Coach, you had to fend off a late-game charge from the Red Raiders there, kind of like with LSU. How would you compare Lubbock to the Greenbrier?
Well, I thought it was good for us. I mean, the Greenbrier was a different venue. It was more of a neutral site, and this was a true road game for us. I thought in both games, we built good leads. Guys worked hard and gave us opportunities to build some, a sizable lead. But this is college basketball. No lead is safe, and I think if you're watching, college now, and, at every level, the NBA level, no lead is safe. Guys are coming back and making runs. They're getting momentum. And so you have to be able to withstand that. And I thought our guys learned from the LSU game, in a game where we couldn't withstand it. We ended up going into triple overtime and losing. And this game, when they made their run, we were able to make the plays necessary to maintain our lead and to win the game.
Johnny, you guys last year, you guys were able to upset Kansas when they came in here. You have the same sort of similar situation coming in this on Sunday. Different 11 new players, but you have Darius and and Jalen back. Is there anything you could take from last year's game that you can maybe use in this situation? And how big of a factor was the crowd last year? And do you expect that to be the case this year?
Well, first, with regards to, last year's team and this year's team, they're totally different. Both of our teams are uniquely different. The good thing is we do have some, senior leadership with Darius and Jalen returning. But they're playing a little different style. We're playing a little different style this year as well. So we really can't take a lot from that season and that game against them. They're a very good basketball team. They have a Hall of Fame coach. They have a, unbelievable program. And we need to just go out and execute the things that we do well and understand, who we are. And so to do that is our guys need to understand, like when we go into a game like this, that we need to take it just one possession at a time and just play hard on every possession and try to make the plays that are right in front of us.
Coach, in the AAC, you get a top 10 team on your home floor. That's kind of one of those stake the flag moments to try to get you into the tournament in March. How different is it when this is just the next conference game and you're going to have more opportunities like this down the road?
No, it's amazing. We played one league game. We have 19 more. And, having be important that our guys stay in that moment, understanding that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Just keep taking it one game at a time, trying to put our best foot forward, each time we step foot on the floor. There's still a lot of room for improvement in our team, and it should be this time of year. We still have room to grow. We're getting to know each other. I see improvement in our guys. Some of our younger players, I see improvement. I think they'll continue to improve as long as we come to practice with the right mindset and we come in to compete when we play our games. And so that's what I want to see is just continued growth, continued improvement as we move through, game after game.
Coach, obviously last year you were able to pull off the upset. What do you want to replicate this year? What do you want to kind of see? What worked last year? What do you want to see happen this time around on Sunday night?
Again, what we want to do is we want to come out and just play with maximum effort on every possession. And I think that's very important for us. And we, make the plays that are right in front of us. I said earlier, it's going to be about executing offensively, executing defensively. And I'm sure they feel the same way. That's how you have to play. And to have any success, you have to do that on both sides of the ball. And so for us, it's just focusing on the things that we have to do, within our system. And I'm sure they're focusing on the things they have to do within their system.
Coach, we've talked a lot about this room over the course of the season, about the return of Jalen and then Mikey's first time on the court. Now that has been put into practice, what have you noticed from the two of them now that they're both on the court?
Well, I think those guys are, starting to get more in rhythm. They're practicing more now. Of course, they've been in some games. And so you start to get your timing back. You start to get in rhythm. And you start to get comfortable with your teammates. You hadn't been with those guys as far as competing And so there's some continuity that has to be developed. And so I think we're in the process of developing that. I think both guys have done a good job as far as bringing good energy, and they've been great, on our bench. But we want to continue to have those guys progress, and to do that, they need to continue to come into practice like they did today, and come in prepared, to play on Sunday.
Obviously, they have Hunter Dickinson back. You played against him last year. What makes him such a tough guard, and how do you guys try to slow him down and not let him dictate the flow of the game?
Well, Hunter's a terrific player. I've watched him play ever since high school. He's one of the best college players. His numbers, are remarkable if you look at what he's done over his college career. And, those type of players, if you've always heard me say, you have to try to contain them. It's hard to stop a player like that. You want to try to contain him, because, he's proven. He's probably a double-double machine throughout his college career. And so just want to try to contain him, and that's what we're going to try to do. He's a guy that has had a lot of success at this level, and, we have a lot of respect for who he is as a player.
Coach, I noticed Mikey was one of the first players off the bench the other day at Texas Tech, one of the primary guards that played. Just kind of what do you foresee his role being? Obviously, that's the first couple games we've really seen him play, but it looks like he was getting out there a lot.
Well, for us, we have to understand our strength is in our numbers and the way we play. And for a guy like Mikey or any of our players that make those contributions, I tell all our guys they all need to always be ready for the opportunity. And that's the best way I can put it, because it may change from one night to another, but you always have to stay ready for your opportunity. And I thought he was ready for his opportunity the other night. And so we want to continue that with not just Mikey, but with all of our players, knowing that our strength is in our depth. And we need to be able to utilize these guys and have confidence that we can put these guys in and they'll make good contributions for us.
Coach, you mentioned improvement in young players. One of those players we've seen grow is Mustafa Chiam, and he's had an impact every time he's on the court. But it seems like recently he's been struggling with foul trouble and staying on the court. How do you plan to keep growing him in that area?
Well, he has to continue to understand his value to his team, and we talk about that all the time. Your value is, obviously we'll be better with you on the floor with more minutes. So we need you to understand how to play defense and be disciplined when you're guarding guys, where you don't pick up cheap fouls and you don't put yourself in position to pick up bad ones. And that's just something that's going to happen with a younger player. Here's a young man who reclassed up, should be playing a senior in high school right now, and he's up here playing high-level Division I. So, for him, I think every time he goes out there is a learning experience. I think that's what you've seen him go through the last few games, and he's going to learn from him. The one thing about him, he wants to be great. He wants to be coached. So I think as we keep pouring into him, as we're doing it with our staff, our assistants have been amazing with him. I think he's going to continue to develop in all facets of the game.
Coach, in this league, how much more formidable are teams coming off a loss, especially one like as highly ranked as Kansas is?
Oh, absolutely. These guys are going to come, any team that has lost a game, they're going to be so fired up. They're going to be so focused on what they need to do to be successful the next time they step foot on the floor. We understand that, and we feel the same way. That's how competitors would feel. So we understand that type of mindset, and we need to make sure our guys have the right mindset as well. But of course, a team like Kansas, which has been perennial top 10 team in the nation, they're going to come in and they're going to be focused and ready to compete.
Coach, the Kansas win last year was obviously certainly a huge highlight of the season last year. Do you see this arena with this fan base and this student body, do you see this place becoming a tough place for opponents to come in here? Do you see that growing?
Absolutely. I think we can have as good a fan base and as good an environment as any team in this country. I've been at some of the best programs in the country as far as that's concerned, and I think we have the potential to be there. And I think last year was a snapshot of what was possible, and then we need to continue to build on that. And we've been, our fans have been terrific. Our student section has been terrific, and we need to continue to grow that, the interest in what we do here. And so, absolutely, I'm excited. I was knocked back last year, and I've seen a lot of great environments by how our fans and our supporters came out and our students came out. And like I said, and I'll be quite frank, I don't think we had the success we had last year at home if it wasn't for our crowd. And I just hope that they will continue to come out and bring that type of energy and that type of enthusiasm going forward.
Coach, Texas Tech had a solid offensive night from their bigs and Toppin and Federico making shots and whatnot. What do you notice with you guys covering big men against Texas Tech that you maybe want to see improve on as you face the rest of the Big 12?
Well, we just have to have a better focus and awareness of what's going on, within people's different schemes, what they do offensively. And that's just part of our growth. I think it's part of growing, it's part of watching film, it's part of, getting on the court and working on things to show these young guys, how they can continue to grow in those areas. But for us, I mean, it's more of just watching our guys in certain situations, understanding that there needs to be a certain level of focus that you have to, that's required defensively, on every possession, and we have to make sure that we continue to work towards that.
Johnny, you've talked about in the last couple weeks about improvement on rebounding, try to be a better rebounding team. Do you guys feel like you're getting there as a unit, and that's something just going to continue to grow as you go through the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'm confident we're going to continue to get better, rebound the ball defensively, because our guys really want to be able to do it. It starts with caring, and these guys care. They want to do it, and usually, if that's the mindset, you're going to continue to improve. And so, watching our guys, take things that we're learning from the game and applying it in practice, I can see improvement from game one to our last game with what we're doing, defensively, what we're doing rebounding. But it's a process, and it's going to be perfect overnight. So, like I said earlier, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we got to keep building toward, who we think we can become. And we're moving in that direction.
Coach, Keyshawn Hall has made such a big impact this year. Obviously, his game at Texas Tech, he literally couldn't miss in the first half. Is a big reason why you got out to the lead you did. Just talk about his impact and how he's helped you guys this year.
Well, I've really enjoyed watching. For me as a coach, one of the funnest times is watching young people develop in your system. Here's a new guy, been here all of 5 or 6 months, and so I've been watching him grow in what we do. And I'm sure he's taken in a lot, from our coaches. Like I said, our staff has done a great job with him and having him understand kind of what we want, from him. And he's been great. He's been coachable. He's been wanting to learn more and more. He can't get enough of the sport, whether it's working extra on his own, whether it's watching film. He's a young man who wants to be great, and it shows by, like I said, his work ethic. So as long as he continues to do those things, I think we're going to continue to pour into him like he's believed in us, and it's been fun to watch his growth. And so I think he's going to continue to even get better from where he is now as he gets more comfortable in our system.
Coach, one of the main struggles you said last year was the team keeping their composure on the road, maybe when momentum wasn't on their side. Did you see a change in that this year with this current team, and how did they hold up to that standard?
Well, I thought we did a good job of staying composed, as you mentioned. I think no better, point is when they were making their run to cut the lead, and they made it a one-possession game. And our guys, they withstood that. They were able to make the plays necessary at that point to hold them off because, Texas Tech in that environment was amazing. And our guys fought through all of that and was able to make the plays necessary. And so there's a maturity about what they do. There's a poise in what they do out there, and they exhibited it, of course, again, the other night. So we have to build on it. I think we can teach, from that game, and we've started teaching from that situation, and I think we can improve on it.
You mentioned players making plays. Veteran point guard Darius Johnson led the team to the free throw line many times when the team couldn't buy a basket. How much of a help was his presence?
He was huge. That's what you want to see, your senior leader, your point guard. No one out there knows what I want more than he does. He's been with me for now his 4th season. And so when you get a point guard that's talented and he's that experienced, he's like a coach on the floor. I have a person that I know, when I'm hearing him speak and say things to the guys, things that I've reiterated to the team for, this my 4th year with him. I'm hearing those things come out. So what you're putting in is meaningful because you're starting to hear him echoing exactly what may be on your mind or what you're thinking about. And it's like, oh, he'll say it, so I'm excited to see that in that he's taking that information in and he's putting it into the players, from his perspective in his own words. And I think that's made us better because they've really, rallied around him as our senior leader, as our point guard. And that's what you want to see happen with his experience.
Coach, you said earlier that no lead is safe in the Big 12, but what do you think this team needs to do defensively in order to hold on to these big leads when you can get them?
Well, I think it's a combination. It's not just your defense. I don't think you can turn the ball over and give guys runouts and layups. I don't think you can, give guys easy opportunities like that as well. So it's a matter of not just defending. It's a matter of making sure you're taking care of the ball offensively and don't give them steals and runouts where they can get easy baskets and get quick points.
Coach, there's a lot of talk about giving players a blanket 5 years of playing eligibility, I guess kind of eliminating the red shirts. Maybe the opting out's been more of a football issue, with guys that'll play 4 games and then decide they don't want to play anymore because they want to preserve a red shirt. But I know John Rothstein earlier today said that there's a lot of momentum. I know you're maybe just learning about it or hearing about it the last few weeks, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I am just learning about it. So, I'm not really sure. The main thing for me, I'm an educator. Obviously we coach and we all competitors or we wouldn't be in this profession. But as an educator, I just want to make sure these young men that spend time in college get their degrees. And so whatever that takes or whatever puts them in the best position so that when they finish college that they have their degree and they can move forward in life, and figure out what they want to do afterwards. And I think we've done a really good job in preparing them. And so my biggest, concern always is, can we help these young men graduate when they're here, get their degree, and help them move forward in whatever profession they choose? And so, so if it's 5 years or 4 years or whatever it takes for them to be successful, then I'm all for it because I'm for those student athletes. I was one of those student athletes. So, and I don't think if I didn't have the opportunities that my coaches provided for me, that I wouldn't be standing in front of you guys right now. So, my thing is I'm very thankful and grateful for what the universities have done for me and what they poured into me. And I'm going to try to do the same thing for every student athlete I get a chance to coach. All right, guys.
All right, Keyshawn, you had a big performance the other night in Lubbock, Texas, against Texas Tech. You were definitely feeling it in that first half. You literally couldn't miss. Just how did you feel going into that game? Did you have an idea maybe in warm-ups that you were in store for a big performance?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I tend to raise my level when I verse like deeper competition. I actually want to play a little. Like I know it's a thing Coach Dawkins has been telling us, treat every game the same, but it's the Big 12, and I actually want to prove myself in the Big 12. So that's the thing. And then my teammates just got me going and finding me and put me in the right places.
Keyshawn, when did you realize you were feeling it? You went into the half, I believe, 7-7, then start up the next half, knocking out another 3. When did you know that you were in the zone?
When I wasn't thinking, I was just out there, I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about nothing. I wasn't trying to hesitate on anything. I was just letting it go. And once I just start feeling it, they start finding me. So that's how I just knew I was going at that time.
Keyshawn, you guys had to fend off another late-game charge from your opponents in the second half. What felt different in Lubbock versus in the Greenbrier against those like LSU?
I think we got a little experience in that aspect because we let LSU come back, so we knew what to do and don't be pressured or rush the ball or be in our heads and start arguing, things like that. So we just had to stay together and just remember what we did in LSU to not even go back to that same thing because Lubbock is a great atmosphere. So we knew we had to take the slow the pace down, and take the crowd out of it. So that was a different thing for us.
So after now being in that sort of situation a couple of times, what do you feel like this team needs to do in order to avoid those types of late game charges when you get leads like that?
Just need to really protect the ball more and not turn it over as much. And when we get into try to get in the bonus and not turn it over as much, not shoot a lot of bad shots. But it's just what I'm saying, every team makes their run. Every team makes their runs. You're not going to stop a team from making the runs. It's just how you contain it and how do you stay together during it.
Keyshawn, you just opened by saying you love big competition. How are you feeling going into Sunday evening?
I feel great. As a kid, when you're a kid, people say it's cliche to say don't do this, don't look at certain games. But as a kid, you always want to play these top teams and you always want to go to these top schools. So I just feel great that I get the blessing from God to be in the Big 12 and play these top teams and to go in here and versus a good Kansas team.
Keyshawn, what do you know about Kansas? And also, did you look back at last year's game at all to see what kind of atmosphere, the court storming and the introduction of the Franz and the student section? Did you look back at last year's game to see what happened?
Yeah, I actually did. That was one of the first things coming here. When I came here, I actually watched their film. I watched a lot of their film, but that was one of the games I locked in on, one of the most games because I love the atmosphere. I love an atmosphere. So I love the student section. I love the home crowd atmosphere here. It's always a packed arena. And what was your second part, the first half part?
What do you know about Kansas? What do you know about them going into this game?
Oh, yeah, they're a great team. They're well coached. One of the best coaches in the business. A good team, and they're going to play together, move the ball, and they're going to, make a lot of runs. We just got to know how to contain it and play defense.
You kind of hit on both sides of it, of treat every game the same, but also you're excited. I mean, this is a blue blood program. When you see Kansas, coming into town, what's that feel like? How exciting is it to get a shot at them?
Man, it's very exciting because it's just like I feel like they're a top team in the country, but I feel like we should be. We can be one of them top teams in the country. We just got to all stay together and keep it together, and just keep going down. Like Coach Dawkins always say, we're not a finished product in January, so we just always have to keep working towards that. So I think we have a great chance of going out there and playing against a good school.
What's the plan to combat them on the glass in particular when they have both the 7-footers out there at the same time?
The plan is to be physical, to be a more physical team. I'm going to tell you, that's what Coach Dawkins keeps telling us, to be a more physical team. They're going to go hard. They're taught that. That's their program. So we just have to, but that's our program too. That's our standard. So we just have to be the more physical team, box out, push them out, and just not let them get position. Because if you do, it's going to be a long night for us.
Keyshawn, I know you came into this year already as a veteran, as an experienced player. How are you getting better, as the year goes on? What have you learned from Coach Dawkins?
I learned a lot, and not just Coach Dawkins. I learned from the players. I just have to learn how to play with great players, like good players that come from other schools, dominating at their other conferences and other schools. Like I came from a school, I had good players on my team, but I was the leading person the ball I would go to. Now here, I'm still one of the guys, but I have other guys, so I have to learn to play with other guys because if I want to make it to the next level, that's what Coach Dawkins always tells me. I want to make it to the next level. I'm not going to be the best player right away. You're going to have to come in and do your part and then play with other great players. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that from Coach Dawkins, learn how to play with different guys where they like their spots and things like that.
Keyshawn, it seemed like a tale of two halves against Texas Tech. You dominated in the first, and then late in the second, DJ kept getting to the line and making clutch plays. Do you feel like that combination or any guy can take over in a game like that?
Yeah. I feel like any guy on the team can, but as you know, like people that's been doing it through their whole career, me, Jordan Ivey, Jalen, DJ, we all can take over a game at any time. So that's a good thing about UCF is like we don't always have to be on our best. Like other teams always, they can't just sit there and be like, oh, he's not going. Now you have to worry about everybody on the court because anytime something can spark up. So I feel like that's a good thing for us.
And I also wanted to ask about DJ's veteran presence and the timeouts when the momentum seemed to be on Texas Tech's side. Was he giving any words to you guys? As like he's been in this program for a while.
Yes, he's been giving a lot of gems to us, saying like just slow down. The atmosphere in the Big 12 is different. Just slow down. Certain calls are going to go our way, not going to go our way, but we just have to stay afloat and stay together because that was the biggest thing. We can't, because we are new guys, a lot of new guys on the team, and we're all in together. So he's just saying stay together and not let things get to us. So that was a big thing for us.
Keyshawn, Coach talked about building continuity with Jalen and Mikey joining you guys on the court now. What has it been like having them on the court with you guys now, and how has building that continuity?
It's been great. I feel like it just fitted right in. Like nobody's coming in trying to do much, mess up the rotations, everything. I feel like it just floated right back in. Obviously, that was a big thing for me transferring here. I wanted to play with Jalen. That was one of my biggest things because I've been knew him since before coming here. So that was just a good thing that I'm happy to see him back on the court. And obviously, I'm happy to see Mikey. So we're all just making it a flow, all playing off of each other and not trying to do too much. So that was good.
Keyshawn, you mentioned this playing in an environment, that can be, especially on the road, competitive environment. Mm-hmm. What's some of the craziest stuff student sections have done? Here UCF has the fronds and they wave them and everything. What's some of the craziest things you've seen the student section do maybe to distract you guys?
To distract me, I don't know. I'm not going to say I look at the student section too much when I'm shooting. But I did when I was a freshman at UNLV, played at New Mexico State. New Mexico, they call it the pit, right? Yeah, it's very crazy there. They be having like all black and white faces, paint their faces and thing. They wait for our bus to get off the bus. So things like that, it's kind of funny. But when I'm in a game, I really don't look at too much stuff. I'll be focused on one thing. I like the energy of the home crowd, but when I'm on the road, I don't really look at it too much.
Keyshawn, you said one reason you came to UCF, you wanted to play with Jalen.
Mm-hmm.
You said you knew him before. How did you guys meet? How did you know him prior to this?
I knew him since high school, but I like social media. Like we, a lot of kids nowadays, they know each other off social media. It's a big thing nowadays. So I've been following his game, been following my game, and we always just reposting each other content or texting each other, so things like that. And then when I had a chance, I wanted to jump on it and I would love to play with him. We're both left-handed, both same guys that can get to the rim, shoot the ball, so things like that. I like to play with that.
What's that?
Keyshawn, you're facing a Kansas team that is coming off a loss. From your experience, what is it like either facing a team that is coming off such a thing, hungry for a win, whether it's you being such a team or facing such a team?
I'm gonna tell you now, man, it's the same thing for me because guess what? They're gonna come in here trying to win, and guess what? We're gonna try to win. So I'm happy I'm not saying I'm happy they lost, but I'm happy they coming in with you know what I'm saying, with some fire on their butt, ready to play. Cause we are too. We got stuff to prove. They're top in the country. Looked at top 7, 10 team in the country. We want to be there. So that really don't matter to us. We just trying to go out there and do the same stuff.
That's like Keyshawn.
Thank you, guys.
Darius obviously was big to start off Big 12 play with a win. Kind of some ebbs and flows. You guys got out to a lead. You kind of had to fight them off at the end. But just kind of looking back at that time at Texas Tech, what did you like most about your basketball team?
I think we played very well together. I feel like we, took advantage of the matchups we had. Keyshawn clearly got it going early, so we just try to find him as much as possible. Just play throughout him. Play with him in the ball, allow him to make plays for his teammates, and just trust him to make shots, which he did the whole first half.
DJ, you mentioned letting Keyshawn play in the first half. In the second half, it seems like you took over late in the game, whether it was hitting that rainbow three or getting to the line continuously. What did you feel in that time and to get UCF to hold on to the lead?
I feel like during the second half they came out a little bit more aggressive. I feel like it may have been different from some things that our guys have seen. So I just came in, used my veteran leadership, just attacked them. When guys pressure you, just don't let them bother you. Just go right by them and try to make the next play. Obviously, I had the hot hand. I was finding plays, getting to the basket or being able to get fouled and get to the line. Keyshawn, I feel like they threw a little more guys at him, trying to throw some doubles, different types of scenarios to where he wasn't able to get as clean looks as he was the first half.
Darius, you were back in a situation where you had to fend off a late game charge. What was different about Lubbock as opposed to the Greenbrier?
Honestly, the environment was definitely different being in Lubbock. I feel like we didn't let the crowd bother us. I feel like last year that probably would have affected us a little bit. And it's a different arena. The Greenbrier tournament just felt kind of tight and compact. Playing in a ballroom, this is a different scenario than we play here and stuff like that.
DJ, going into Sunday, have you been able to take a look at Kansas? What have you seen? How do you plan on preparing personally, and how do you think the team is ready to play them as well?
The team, we're still preparing, each and every day, making sure we go through our scout and, preparation and stuff like that. But, me personally, I know they like to run their offense through Hunter, very skilled, Hall of Fame big. We just have to limit his touches, do our work early. They have a lot of skilled guards. The kid Zeke Mayo, we also played him last year, so we're a little bit familiar with him. So we kind of have a scout, how to guard him and stuff like that, things to limit these guys' touches and not get them as much easy looks.
You're one of the few guys that was on the floor last year for UCF in that game. How do you take something from that and help your team this year with so many new guys?
Just stay composed. Don't make the game bigger than what it is. Treat this team like it's, Peter Pan prep, as coaches would say. Don't look at them any different than no other team. You don't put them on a higher pedestal just because they have a name on the front of their jersey. Every guy's good. All Division I basketball players are good. That's why we're all at this level right here. So just come out ready to compete.
Darius, are there moments when you're on the floor, leading the unit, and you look around, you see all the different guys who can, Keyshawn and Jalen, and where you think to yourself, man, any one of these guys could go off like Keyshawn did the other night, and how does that make you feel about the idea that maybe you don't necessarily have to carry the team at times, that you can kind of find other guys around you that maybe can step up and be that guy?
That's great. Being in my position, I've always, led by example. I can score, I can facilitate, whatever my team needs me to do. But, this year we have a lot of guys who can put the ball in the basket. Every night, the ball is not going to fall every night. I try to tell the guys that every time. The thing that can be most consistent is our defense. That's the things that we can control. How much we're talking. Our communication, making sure we're active with our hands. That's everything that we can control. Guys, they put the work in. I trust my teammates to make shots, and they trust me. So we just got to play well with each other. I feel like our chemistry is continuing to grow each and every game. Adding Jalen back, that's another big factor for us. Another leading scorer on our team from last year. So we're just putting it all together. I still don't think we've reached our highest peak yet. We're still growing as a team.
Speaking of bringing Jalen back, what's it like? What's your role in help building that continuity with Jalen and the rest of his new teammates coming in, and then also you have Mikey thrown in there as well?
Honestly, it's different because we have so much talent. Last year, me and Jalen, we probably had to carry the load a little bit more. So this year it's just telling him to just keep it simple. We don't need you to try to go get 30 every night. We have a lot of talented guys. Our biggest goal is winning. Every guy can score, so just take what the defense gives you. You got an open shot, take it. If someone two play one, get the ball up. Simple stuff like that.
Kansas is ranked top 20 nationally in assists and assist-to-turnover ratio. So how do you guys try to get them out of rhythm and not let them settle into their offense?
Well, we have different defenses to kind of throw them off balance. We want to be active. We want to try to speed them up a little bit probably. We have different types of presses, different things we can throw at them. But, we try to disrupt their offense. They like to play comfortable. They like to assist, make guys better. So we're going to try to, discontinue that, by, make sure we pressure the ball and, keep guys out of our paint.
At Texas Tech, I'm sure you were frustrated in the moment for committing that flagrant foul. But after that, you played lights out. You couldn't play it any better after that. Is that where maybe an older, more experienced Darius Johnson doesn't let a play like that bother him?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely shouldn't have got the flagrant in the first place. But, that's definitely, younger Darius probably would have reacted and got another flagrant after that. So we're glad I'm growing up now.
There's talk about the confidence that going on the road to beat Texas Tech, to open up conference play does for you. Last year it was different. You guys were on the road, lost to TCU. So what does that do for you guys now, knowing that you're in full steam going into conference play?
Well, I think right there, going and get a road win against a very talented team, it sets a tone for us and the rest of the Big 12. I feel like we're a team that's underestimated, and, that's okay because if you keep underestimating, things like that can happen. Having the experience with me and Jalen, knowing what to expect going into those rough environments like that, you could take the crowd out of those games. I feel like, the crowd was pretty silent for majority of the game until, they had that one little stretch where they went on a run with a lot of transition buckets. So you could take the crowd out with no threes, no dunks, and stuff like that. So.
Darius, Coach Dawkins called you a coach among the players. What is your relationship in terms of coaching and kind of taking that role on the floor there?
Just trying to echo everything our coaches tell me. I've been under Coach Dawkins for, the past 3 years. So I kind of been in every situation with him, so I kind of know what he's going to say or what he wants the team to understand. So, just trying to reiterate that to make his job easier and to make my job easier as well.
Darius, how important is you experienced this last year? Obviously, when you upset Kansas and the student section, everyone stormed the court. How important is the atmosphere for Sunday's game? How does that impact you guys? Maybe get you guys revved up, having a good crowd.
It's gonna be great. People really don't recognize this, but the crowd they make or break a game. With the momentum. When you get plays like dunks and the crowd's going crazy. Last year we used to slap the floor, the crowd used to get extra loud. So, just stuff like that. Knowing you got people behind your back. Going on the road is tough because you're just with the guys you travel with and your staff. You don't really have any fans like that. We haven't got UCF to where we're a school where we bring people along with us wherever we go.
No, Coach Darius, you're facing a Kansas team that's coming off of a loss. From your experience, either playing teams coming off of a loss or you coming up with a loss, what's it like going into a game with that situation?
Honestly, you just got to focus on the next play. You can't let what you did last game, carry on to the next game. Obviously, take the good in what you did in the previous games, bring that along with you. But you can't get discouraged. You're just focusing on going 1-0 every night. Kansas, they're going to come in here hyped up, coming off a loss. But at the end of the day, this is our home, and we got to protect home court.
Thank you, Darius.
Appreciate it.